going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 15 of Get Bucked. I'm your host, Ryan Anderson, and we have a special episode today as we're going to be doing the opening day card at Turfway Park. And as usual, I get to be joined by my co-host, Jackson Muniz. And Jackson, we got some friends joining us today, and you're going to, we all know them. There's some friends of ours. First, our PHP host, Noah Maher, and of course, the host of the HHH Racing Podcast, Picks and Ponies, so many other things. That's Howard Kravitz. How's it going, everybody?
Doing great.
Good. Looking forward to picking more winners than Jackson.
Yeah, I only need one winner, and it's going to pull up the tote, and I'll beat you money-wise, so that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, like there's never many long shots on one card at Turfway.
Yeah. You know, I probably should have asked this beforehand, but are we capping the payouts at all? Like, can I pick a 9-9 to one shot in every race and just need one of them to win, or
no? You can pick
no
whatever
cap.
you want.
Okay.
For anybody that's confused on what Jackson is talking about right now, the four of us are going to go through every single race on the Turfway Park opening day card for tomorrow, Wednesday. We're each going to pick our top horse, and that horse is going to be entered into a mythical $2 win place contest amongst the four of us. And whoever wins, I'll sponsor a little $50 payout for them. So good luck to you three. I'm certainly just going to win, and I'll get to keep my $50 to myself, and then I'll go bet it on Parks on a Thursday. So I am really excited to get into this. And everybody stay tuned. Around race 5, I will announce the contest for the comment section as we go along, because I want them to play along as well. One more time before we get going, please like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. And if I sound sick, that's because I am. I feel just spectacular right now. So pardon me if I go a little off the rails at any point here. But without further ado, let's break it down into race number 1. Picks are up. I went with the number 10. Jackson went number 1. Howard went with the number 5, and Noah went with the number 10. Howard, we will start with you. This is your top pick in race number 1 of the contest.
Well, I feel like they just let me out of the old folks' home with you young guys here on the show. But I appreciate being on, guys. Well, the first thing I want to say very quickly is Turfway is very difficult. We all know that. They've monster fields. Like every field's going to be 12 plus. It's going to be crazy. There's no reason to take favorites, to me, in my opinion. We're sort of guessing on morning lines. I took a little stab here in the first race with Golden Town dropping down for Tomlinson. Actually not dropping down technically. It was in for 30, but it's mainly been in main specials and 50. I'm concerned that he might be a little too far back. But guys, if you go way back to the March race at Fairgrounds, that was his best fig, going 5.5. I understand it was on the turf. I think turf translates fine to the Tapeta. So again, I'm hoping Cedillo, who is in it to win it this meet, and from a jockey perspective, will have his horse not as far back as it might look on time form. We'll make a late run, and I'll win the first race at 7-1. Thank you very much.
There we go. Yeah, that's a little above the 9-2 morning line, but I can see 7-1 on this horse. I did give this one a look, but ultimately I ended up on the number 10. But Jackson, we'll go to you next, and that's the number 1, Fly J's Fantastic, with your top choice to kick us off in this contest.
Yeah, just to add on what Howard was saying, Turfway is very difficult, and I've had mixed results there. But when I do well, it's typically I'm just playing for extreme pace scenarios, whether it's completely falling apart or it's completely speed favoring. That's kind of going to be the theme for me today. Looking at this race, there's no speed in here. I mean, the time form has this horse right up there in the lead, and he's never been closer than 4 length or 4th. So this is a horse that should be forwardly placed. Massive class drop, drawn on the rail, should be forward. Has figures that fit on his best day. It just seems pretty logical in a race like this, where it's tough to say how this race is going to unfold.
Absolutely, yeah. Real quick for everybody here, what's tougher to handicap in Kentucky, Turfway Park or Kentucky Downs? Just a quick poll.
Turfway.
I'd say Turfway.
Okay. I'd probably tend to agree because things just don't make sense at this course. Yet somehow, Noah, you and I ended up on the same pick for this race. There are 12 horses entered. We ended up on the same with number 10. Why don't you lead us off here?
Yeah, it's funny that you got the 10 and then Howard mentions the 5, because those are the two I was kind of in between. I just think the 10's probably not going to have as much to do turning for home. But this is a horse that he's been facing tougher, just like the 5. 2 back, he was 4-1 in a pretty decent 32, which I think was definitely tougher than this in this maiden claiming event. Anglican was a horse that actually ran over at Del Mar and was in maiden special weight and dropped down to get the win. And then you see the horse that ran second, D-Day Reunion, came back and beat him last time. He was drawn out wide. He was a little wider than maybe he wanted, but still closer. And I think with the cutback, hopefully he's not too far back. And then the last thing you can see up in the top right, Ryan's not the one that came up with that stat. That was me. But Cipriano Contreras, 33% route to sprint at Turfway over the last 5 years. So something to take into account.
You guys
something
count or something?
Something worth mentioning. While Noah pointed out that his comment made his way onto my DRF formulator.
Talk about
that. All the past performances that you see on PHP and otherwise provided by yours truly. Just a word for the wise: don't share your account information with Noah Maher, guys. He will go on a spending rampage. And
Hey, quick thing about the 10 guys. Talk about a tough game. This horse cost $285 at the sales. Is now 0 for 9. Has won 9,000. Now he's in for 30. Welcome to horse racing ownership, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to horse racing, indeed. Yeah, I had to tap it, so that's 185K just to start, and then sold for 285. So really just cutting their losses here, but maybe he just wakes up. I like the cutback. I like the Bug Boy on board. Obviously, Noah mentioned dropping from Tougher. So I'm hoping we started off, and I'm hoping you get a bit of a price on this one. But Jackson's going with the number 1, Howard going with the number 5, Noah and myself both landed on the number 10. That's for race number 1 in our contest. And again, anybody watching on X, I would encourage you to go over to the YouTube channel at the Gallop Out, get into the comment section for the live comment contest. It's going to be coming up that I'll announce around race 5. But as we keep it going, race number 2, we're going a mile on the synthetic, of course, claiming $5,000, non-winners at 2 lifetime. Me and Howard ended up on the same horse this time, with us both going with the number 2, Noah choosing the number 3, and Jackson with the number 11. So Jackson, we're going to start with you this time around. Broken Justice, 30-1, looking to blow it up and win the contest right here.
Hey man, it's Turfway. We're taking some swings, and as I mentioned, I'm playing for the extreme pace scenarios. Time Form has this listed as a pretty fast pace, so this horse is, when he does show up, or is it a he? I think it's a he. Yeah, when he does show up, it's from way out of it. And he actually has pretty good form at Turfway to go back towards last year. I mean, he's going to have to improve a lot, but, crazier things have happened at this track. And if it falls apart completely, I won't be surprised if he's running on through the lane. And he doesn't even have to win. Even if he gets second at 40-1 or whatever, he's going to pay $30 to play. So I'm going for bombers mostly in this contest, this format.
Yeah, I just threw the time form up there, and both in the early pace and finishing positions, the 11 wasn't even on the screen. So if this thing would really have to fall apart, but you would blow up the tote, and you're going to get a lot higher than 30-1, I think, with these fields and everything like that. I'm pretty sure 30-1 is around where they max out in the morning lines, but as you all know, when the public starts to bet, those can drift up. Noah, we'll go to you We'll go to you next, excuse me, before we go to me and Howard's top choice in the 2. You got number 3, Mr. Faversham.
Yeah, I just wanted to go with someone other than the 8, because the 8's a short price, and I don't have a lot of faith in the 8. So this was just kind of the one I thought next. I know I don't love the 3-1, but I think this is a talented horse that's dropping in class. You see his last 2 races on turf. He was drawn 10 of 10 and then 11 of 12. So hasn't really been able to save ground. He draws the 3 today. This is kind of Juan Cano circuit. This horse has been at Turfway and has done well. So I just think with the class drop, and like Jackson said, there's a lot of pace in here. So I think we'll save ground and just kind of make one run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Noah's top pick, the number 3, Mr. Faversham. Howard, why don't you kick us off with our top choice, the number 2, Confucius.
Well, of course, Confucius, very famous Asian philosopher from way back in the day. I'm sure he bet the ponies back in, whatever the year that Confucius was alive in. I'm not going to give any kind of particular accent. I'll just simply say that Confucius bet William Morey at Turfway. This guy's really good. He's going to have a big meet. I'm not a huge fan necessarily of horses coming from the West Coast in this format, but guys, the 2 races from Golden Gate, which of course was Tapeta or synthetic, would win this race. I wouldn't say easily, but the one on January 6th for sure. I mean, he was an N2X. I mean, at that point. So I know it's a big drop down, but what I like most, I think, other than what I mentioned, is he's been working locally Ryan, at Turfway. He's doing it well. And Julio Felix, for those of you who don't know, is a very underrated Midwest jockey who raced in Chicago and Hawthorne for a long time, and I'm very familiar with him. And I think we might get that 6-1 because, frankly, I think the 3 and the 8 are the more likely winners, especially the 13 if he draws in. So I'm going to go with Confucius to teach us something for Billy Morey.
I like it. Yeah, I went there for the similar reasons. I love the 2 synthetic tries, and then the local works also just encourage me here. Bill Morey at 6-1 at Turfway Park would be a gift because he points for this meet. He's really good here, and he comes with the intention to win and try and be the leading trainer. So, yeah, that's Confucius, the top pick for me and for Howard. Jackson going with the number 11, hoping everything melts down like a quesadilla, and then Noah with the number 3, Mr. Faversham. Just to the outside of the
real quick, Ryan. Have
yeah.
you ever seen a bigger drop than the one the 8 is doing in this race?
Yeah,
let's go take a peek.
That is just.
I mean, yes, this is a massive class drop. We're going allowance non-winners a 2 lifetime. Given it was at Belterra, but then before that you were in protected allowance company. You were at stakes races. Yeah, absolutely. Lost to Carl Spackler earlier this year. Just back in May on Derby weekend, and then now all the way down at claim 5,000, the claiming 5,000 level, non-winners of 2 lifetime.
Guys, over under on this mare, how many people are going to try to put a claim on her in the claim box? Is this going to be like a 30-way shake or some nonsense? Yeah. There's got to be a lot in the claim box for this horse, right? And
they just run her right back at the same level because why not for that kind of person?
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
Or they have they have those starter allowance 5,000 conditions as well, which I believe is the next race we're going to get into. And I didn't see the horse in this week's entry or in this card's entries, but there is a horse that did this last year and just kind of took advantage of these allowance starter conditions and went had 3 or 4 wins at the level. We'll move on to race number 3, which is that starter allowance 5,000 condition. We're going 6 furlongs. The purse is about $23,000. Picks are up on the screen. Eventually I will have my own unique pick, but Jackson, now you and I have the same top pick with the number 7. Howard, you have the number 3, and Noah, you have the number 4. Howard, we're going to start with you this time. The number 3, Proto Magic.
For those of you that play $2 mythicals, there's nothing wrong with taking a chalk once in a while. I mean, we're just doing this for fun, of course, and I do like this horse, but if Proto Magic wins at 5-2 and I collect $11 between the win and place, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I think sometimes people search for things that are not there. I don't know how good this horse is, but by the way, this is another Juan Cano drop down. The 8 in the last race was also Juan Cano. This isn't nearly as big a drop down, obviously. I mean, this horse ran very well at Turfway earlier in the spring and winter of this year. I think that's the service that she wants best, especially with Giants Causeway and Miz and Mass in the second family. Noah Maher can touch more on pedigree. So I'm just going to go with Proto Magic, guys. It's not the most creative, but it's just looking to get some points here, and it's just logical.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing against it there. The figures fit if he can, transfer, or she can transfer that back over. I would take a drink, but I'm sick, so I'll drink my Dayquil. Noah, to the number 4, Save the Bees.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty tough race in general. So I don't mind the 7-2 on Save the Bees. I think her form's a little dirtied up. If you just look at her 1-turn races, go back to May when she got claimed by Arantes. She won at 6.5, which was a fine race. And then 3 and 4 back, she was able to get the job done going 1 turn. Then went 1 turn at Churchill, which was way too tough for her. Then last time went 2 turns as a heavy favorite. So I think if you just kind of look at her 1-turn races, they fit pretty well. She's 6 for 15. I think you have to pay attention to the fact that Luan Machado hops on. I don't know if that's a good thing at this point in his career, but I think it's something worth mentioning.
He rides really well there. He had a huge year last year.
He rides great. He knows where the finish lines are. He goes through the finish and everything good like that. That Save the Bees, the number 4. Jackson, somehow you and I both ended up on the number 7 as our top pick, and I'll let you kick this one off.
Yeah, I'd be a little worried if I were you, because the most important part about these contests is picking horses that other people don't have. And apparently you've been blocked in every single race so far. So that's not a good thing.
I know. I know.
So anyway, this 7 horse, you just show the time for and pace projection. It says it favors front runners, and this horse is going to be right up there on the lead. She's got figures that fit. She's run well here before, just 1 for 11, but she's in the exact of 4 of 11, so that's good enough for me. She's able to be on the lead, or she can stalk and pass horses, which is going to be, again, really beneficial in this spot. Just a pace play for me. So 6-1 seems more than fair, but honestly, if I'm playing this like horizontals, the 3 and 9 probably are pretty tough in this race. But for the contest, I needed more of a price.
Yeah, I like the 7 for all the reasons you mentioned, and this runner is a half to a really good synthetic sprinter in Headline Hunter, who had some good buyer speed figures at Gulfstream Park back in 2022. Talking about Headline Hunter right there for Jose D'Angelo. So I'm hoping that form and in the family just kind of sticks with it, and this one can kind of transfer her form over. Did it again. That's a common occurrence for me. But number 7, Beach Kitten for me and for Jackson, and then Save the Bees for Noah with Proto Magic for Howard for race number 3. Moving on to race number 4, we're going a mile and an 8th. All of these are on the Tapeta. I shouldn't need to say that anymore, but we're glowing claim $8,000. Picks are up. I finally don't have the same pick as any of you guys, so I have the 1 here. Jackson has the number 7, Howard with the 12, and Noah with the 4. Noah, we're going to go with you to start us off here. The number 4, Montauk Point.
Yeah, Montauk Point is funny enough a half to Koviv, which is a very nice horse. And this was a horse that they bought for $550, so obviously there were some good intentions there. He's been in some really good races in his career, and maybe he just isn't quite as good as he used to be. But still dropping in class. This is the lowest that he's ever been. I'm just hoping maybe the switch to the synthetic can kind of get him back to closer to what he's been doing best. And it seems like, at least last meet at Turfway, it seems like you get the prices with the horses that haven't quite been on synthetic, and then you just kind of, by chance, they end up taking really well to it. And this would be one with the drop down. Obviously been facing better. It's just a matter of whether he can get back to as good as he used to be.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm pulling up the time form pace projections here. Jackson, do you want to talk about the number 7, which is your top choice in the race?
Yeah, again, that's going to be the theme for my whole card. Fast pace, it seems like, and I'm going to take a horse that should be coming from pretty far out of it, and that's the 7 horse who hasn't ran in over 2 years now. So this is a long time for this 8-year-old since he's been in the races, but actually I don't mind it because, again, I didn't think anyone else would pick it, so I wanted a horse that no one else would have. And if you go back to his races that he was running, they were pretty good. I mean, he was very competitive in those spots, earning figures that make him pretty tough. And I like the fact that he seems to be working well, and they bring him back protected. So, they're putting him in for that waiver claim. It's usually a sign of confidence. And the fact that they bother bring him back at all at 8 years old, it seems like he has to be able to run still, right? Because why would you bother bringing him back if he couldn't?
Yeah, I agree. Bringing them back for the waiver certainly is encouraging. I think the new HISA rule, you can bring him back twice off this kind of layoff and run him for the waiver. So that'll be interesting to kind of see how he does here, if he can run, if he gets better out of this race. Howard, we're going to go with you next to the number 12, Kygo.
I just think it's interesting no one's taking the 11, who's going to be 7-5 in the spot. I don't know if you guys would use that horse in a horizontal. That's a question I'd like to ask the panel if we have time, or are we just not using the 11 because we're trying to find prices in this contest. I agree with everyone here on the screen in general about the pace complexion. It looks like it could collapse. I don't love the 12 hole for Kygo, but I'm assuming LeBron's just going to take back here, and so I don't think he's going to be as wide. If he was if he was more of a speed type or midfield type, I'd be more concerned actually with the 12 hole. So he'll just take back. He's got plenty of numbers that fit. It's not a huge drop down. He runs well on turf and sin. I think if the 12 gets any kind of decent trip, I gotta be honest, I think he's a very likely winner here, and I might get 3-1-ish. So I'm just hoping for a trip with Victor LeBron and Kygo.
I like it. That's to the far outside. And then, let's talk about the 11 real quick before I get to my pick, the number 1, Chantry Flats. I'm not using this one in the win place, tourney picks, because I think you need to find some better value, and I think this one is vulnerable. But if I was to play pick 5 here, which I don't think I will, because Ed DeRosa of Horse Racing Nation released the average payoffs for these things for all the sequences this morning, and the average pick 5 payoff, the odds were, what was it? It was like 55,300 $300 were the average pick five payouts. That is ridiculous. So that being said, I will be firing some pick fives, but if I were to play the pick five, this horse is probably going to be on there. Definitely, worth including with these, better kind of class figures, and obviously some numbers that would just run away with the field. But my top pick in here for contest sakes is the number 1, Reapply. I think this one has been forward, but this one's been forward with some slower races. So I think this one's able to be a little bit tactical. I like the draw from the 1. Obviously, we've been talking about how this pace looks pretty fast and could fall apart. I'm hoping it doesn't fall apart too much. I hope Reapply with Cedillo on board just has this horse in the right spot. This horse has never missed the board at Turfway Park, so I like just seeing that he likes this course. This is a tricky course, and obviously with the large fields, that means something for you to never miss the board. This horse clearly likes it here. So I like the draw going the 2 turns. Should be in a nice, cozy trip, and I'm hoping this one gets home, and I'm hoping to get a little bit better than 9-2 on this one.
Hey, Ryan, can I just throw out something just for the viewers and bettors and listeners? Something that everyone needs to pay attention to is it's very cold in the Midwest right now, and you really have to pay attention to how this track's going to play because they can only put so much, water on there. It's Tapeta, obviously, but in the past when it's been very cold, I have seen it be more speed favoring. So I'm not saying it's going to be that way this week or on Wednesday, but I mean, you really got to pay attention to track buys, especially early in the meet or on extreme weather days on the Tapeta. Believe me, I have experience with that with rest in peace, Arlington Park. Yeah,
no, the weather certainly comes into effect. There are those days at Turfway Park where it's snowing or there's like clearly snow on the infield, and the track will change the way it plays, whether it gets tightened up with the with the weather and what have you. Similar to the tides at Del Mar, depending on who you talk to, but that's for a different day, I guess. So I'm going with the number 1, Jackson with the number 7, Howard with the number 12, and then Noah with the number 4 in the 4th race of the opening day at Turfway Park. We go on to race number 5. We're going 1 mile for the 2-year-olds on the Tapeta. Real quick before we get into our picks, everybody that's over on X, hop on over into YouTube to participate in the live contest, which I'll go ahead and go over the rules for now. I'm going to put it up on the screen for everybody. So in the comment section, just go ahead and comment your top selection for each race at Turfway Park, similar to how the 4 of us are doing our win place competition. Everybody that's entered, just have it in before the first race tomorrow. Whoever is the winner, that's based on the win place payouts, will get a $25 wager of their choice, either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday of this week. I'll reach out on X. That's where I'm going to announce the winner on Wednesday night after the Turfway program concludes. So reach out to me. You'll get a wager of any kind that you want, whether that's a $25 place pick all 9. You could do a $25 show bet. I don't care. Whatever you do, if you win, congratulations. It's up to you. So hop on over to YouTube. You can only participate in the YouTube comment section. So hop on over, give your top picks in the comment section of this video for every race at Turfway Park, similar to how myself, Jackson, Noah, and Howard are doing. And the winner will receive a $25 free wager of their choice. Anyway, for our host competition, we're going a mile, maiden special weight for the 2-year-olds. We're on the Tapeta, obviously. I'm going to keep saying that because it's a force of habit. I'm going with the number 10, Jackson with the number 11, Howard the number 4, Noah with the number 8. Howard, we're going to start with you, the number 4, first-time starter. It's all about the family.
Look, guys, this race is impossible. I mean, this is a complete guess. Family could finish last. I would not be surprised. I wasn't a huge fan of the horse that have run, guys. And I'm going to take a shot. And I did a little research that I'm not too familiar with. Michelle Elliott, the trainer, she's decent. She's solid. She's 35% in the money to Indiana. 21%. The trainer jockey combination, excuse me. I was wrong. The trainer jockey combination, 35% in the money. The dam here, Heidi Marie, is 21% with 2-year-olds. So she's dropped some decent horses. And I just think this horse this is a wide open race. The works look solid enough to me. I realize they are in Indiana. De La Cruz is a capable jockey. It's a guess, guys. I just want a fresh face, and maybe family can upset the field, but it's not a strong opinion.
No, I get it. This race is It's a cluster to say the least. Any one of these horses could win in it. I don't think anybody would be surprised. Jackson, unsurprisingly, is going with a 20-1 morning line shot. Why don't you walk us through this top choice?
Yeah, I agree with Howard. The horses that I've ran before don't excite me that much, so I was pretty hesitant to pick any of the shorter prices in there. And this one, oh my gosh, that debut race was actually that was a really live race. The top 3 in there are all runners. They've all come back to do pretty well. And if you look at our time form figures, they're really not that far off. They're only like 3 or 4 points slower than the favorites are in the second choice. So if I'm in a race that just kind of confused me, I'm gonna take a chance on a horse that's gonna be 5 times the price. And again, she doesn't have to win. If she gets second, that's the same thing as a 5-1 shot winning for the contest purposes. So why not take a chance on a big long shot?
I like it. This one certainly has the breeding to do so. American Pharaoh out of the Bernardini mare could certainly handle the 2 turns. Alex Ashard is no slouch at Turfway Park. You see him and Brissett hit at 21% with almost a $3 ROI. So I'm not going to talk you off of that. This one has 3 races coming in, including a maiden special weight turf route effort last time out. So certainly nothing to slouch at. No, we're going to go with you next. The number 8 Pediatric Princess. What do you have for us here?
Yeah, no, I did agree with the group. I thought this was a pretty tough race. This is just one that I've actually liked a couple times, so I'm going to go back to her. She went a pretty fast pace in the debut against Mayday Ready, and then she was close at Aqueduct but didn't run very well. She put together 58 and 58, so back-to-back buyers. So the third start was supposed to be kind of a buyer top, and she just didn't take to the dirt at Keeneland. She was drawn 11 of 11, and it was one of those one-turn races at Keeneland where you have to be able to save ground and be close, and that just wasn't what she was. So hopefully getting back to not the turf, but to trying the Tapeta, maybe she'll kind of show the career best that maybe she was kind of pointing toward. Walter Rodriguez is a guy that's done very well here before, and Terra Nova doesn't ship to Turfway a lot, but she's working well coming into it, and she's going to be close in a race where I don't think the group is very good. So hopefully don't get anything shorter than 8-1.
I like.
Yeah,
that
I
pick,
agree.
Probably no. I do like that pick.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I gave this one.
We're not getting 8-1, I don't think, but I do
No.
like the pick.
I'm right with you there, Noah and Howard. I did like that one. My ultimate decision ended up with the number 10 Stopwatch. I love the breeding. I love the not this times going on synthetic. I think he's around 19% with the synthetic route starters. So that's enough for me. Cherie DeVoe, she could have a starter on the moon, and I would probably bet her. Cedillo at Turfway Park, we've talked about him riding well. And, Cherie's just really kind of been hot lately. So I'm happy to ride that hot hand in a race that is absolutely wide open. This one, for probably betting purposes, you definitely got to watch the board and see where the money goes. But for contest sakes, I'm confident taking the number 10 Stopwatch. I think the breeding fits. I like Cherie's numbers debuting at a mile or over, and the first time starter numbers. So at Churchill, they hit at 14%. And I mean, again, this is a wide open race, so I didn't want to take anything under 10-1. So I ended up right about there.
You're right. If either of the A's get in, they're gonna be favorites, especially the 14 in this race. And I'm assuming the 13 would be live for Brad Cox, whose barn right now is absolutely on fire with 2-year-olds. I mean, this guy's got one hell of a stable right now, including a horse that I know of that's running this Friday. Selfish plug.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes, he does.
in an allowance race. But anyway, right. I mean, right, guys. Either of these horses to get in, they're gonna be the favorites, including I would say the 13.
Yeah, I would agree. I would just, if the 13 were to draw in, that would be a horse that I'd be really happy is going to take all the money, because Maximum Security hasn't been super precocious, I guess, with his first time starters for his 2-year-old crop.
Do you know his record, by the way?
We can check.
Go ahead, because I looked it up. It's get a good laugh. Oh no, you don't have it available.
Oh, I do. It'll do it. It's probably because Noah is logged in.
I can tell you. Would you like to know?
Yeah,
why don't you give us with Maximum Security with his first time starters, 37 first time starters. Oh, there we go.
There we go. He is 0 for 37.
I mean, I wonder why. He was healthy his whole career. He seemed to be just. Oh boy, what did I just say? What did I just start off?
Nothing that hasn't been stated before, because it's all seems to be pretty true. So yeah, 0 for 37 to start the career. This is a horse that I'm going to be excited if this one draws in and takes money because that's just going to inflate the price of all of our other picks. That being said, though, if the 14 draws in, that one's going to take some real money, and that one's definitely live.
The 14 should be 4 to 5 if he draws in, even from that post. I mean, this is a giant drop in class.
Yeah. By the way, my
Absolutely.
one-time only, my first ever and one-time Florida Derby seeing live, Maximum Security.
Wow. That was actually the first day I was ever at the races. Was I watched Maximum Security run and win in the Pacific Classic.
Really?
So
Wow.
yeah, that was my first day ever at the racetrack, and that was not that long ago. I'm new to this degenerate lifestyle, but I love
That's
it.
pretty cool.
So
that was for Bob then, right? That was not.
It was.
I think he beat 4 horses.
No, that was
right?
not Knucklehead.
Yep.
4, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was running for old Bob, who. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, so if Golden Sunshine draws in, this one has a nice turn of foot and should definitely be there. Second and a third to start the career, and then the fourth last time out, but was closer to the line than in those previous 2 starts. So certainly one that's going to be a major threat coming in. But that's race number 5. Moving on to race number 6, we got 6.5 furlongs, claim $16,000. I picked the number 5 on top, Jackson the number 2, Howard the number 9, and Noah the number 8. Jackson, we're going to start with you. The number 2, Quarter Flash.
Yeah, this is probably one of the picks I actually wouldn't mind playing, like live money as well. I think there's some decent amount of speed in this race, and I just like the way that this horse is coming in here, where she had the prep, where it was clearly a prep because they put her up way too high in class. She kind of just ran around the track. Didn't get a great setup, and she's really not a dirt horse anyways, because she had some good form here at Turfway last year. I guess it was early this year. And in those races too, she didn't really have good setups in any of them, and she always came with a good run. So now that she has that prep under her belt, if she can get some pace to run out in here, I think the 1 has more speed than Timeform is predicting. I think the 1's going to go, the 5's going to go, and the 7 all seem pretty speedy. If those 3 can kind of speed this thing along, I think the 2 can. I think the 2 can come running late at a good price.
I don't disagree. We've looked at the time form for all the races except the last one because that one was just a maiden race with a bunch of first-time starters, so it doesn't really have an accurate one. But the Turfway one can be tough because we've talked about the track biases on and off throughout the show, and it does get really it certainly takes an effect.
Yeah, and I should mention, I think the 6.5 for a long distance, especially at Turfway, is very closer friendly just because it's just a little bit longer, and they don't really seem to try to rein in that speed ever. So
yeah, that extra half a furlong they seem to really ignore, and just it comes back to bite them more often than not, I would say. That's the number 2 horse for Jackson. Howard, will go to you next to the number 9. Let me get down there, and that's Miranda's Rocky at 15-1. That's a nice price.
Yeah, complete wide open race. What a shocker, guys! This is a bit of a trainer angle. Robert Klein, 22%, guys. First off the claim. That's pretty darn good. And the trainer jockey combo with Correa is 17%. I think this horse is pretty well meant. I think Presque Isle is a pretty underrated track, guys, in terms of Tapeta. It's decent racing there. Those are not easy races. They're optional 40. Sometimes she was in for the 40. Sometimes she was not in for the 40. They're raising up in class from 12.5 to 16 with a big purse. Has a local work. It's a wide open race. Should be mid pack. Why not? I'll go with Miranda's Rocky. I think she's been interesting here.
I like it. Could definitely wake up off the claim for Klein in this spot, and certainly has some back numbers that make this one competitive. So I wouldn't talk you off of that at all. Right to his inside is the number 8, B2B, whatever. Noah, this is your top choice.
Yeah, we talked about the lows of owning horses. How about this horse? They bought her for $1,200, and she's earned over $170,000.
Unbelievable.
With that being said, she's been running well at Turfway. 3 wins in 2 seconds in 12 starts. You go back to last winter, she actually beat Jackson's 2 and your 5, Ryan, by over 6 lengths. And her other races over the Tapeta weren't bad as well. Go back to her last 2 races. In the $25,000 and the $32,000 claimers. Actually, last time she was pretty much over her head, and I thought she ran really well. So getting back to the Tapeta that she likes, and hopefully I'm able to take my $11 and extend my lead at this point.
There you go. I like it. I'm not gonna. That's
Wait, did you say
that confidence.
His lead? That'll be
did.
the first time this guy's on the leaderboard. He'll be at 0 before this. What are we talking about?
He's
By the
never
way,
seen his
one
name
other
on the
quick thing,
leaderboard
if I
before.
may, Ryan, or I
Yeah.
think it was Jackson brought up a really good point. With these big fields, guys, and competitive, the place money's gonna be great. I mean, like for example, let's say Noah's 8 goes off at 5-2 and finishes second. That still could be 420, and a normal day would be like 280, right? So
Yeah.
the place money absolutely matters, especially at a track like this and this kind of contest. So I'd be happy with a lot of seconds, frankly, in this contest.
And you
Absolutely
got the
does.
penny breakage too.
Sorry, it
no.
would pay 421. My bad.
Yeah,
There you go.
very important.
My top pick in this one is the number 5, Oh Babe, 3-1. So not a crazy long shot, but back into the barn of Jeff Greenhill, where this one was all of last meet for Turfway Park. Had some really good races there at some lower levels, but had a couple in protected company and one at the Claim 16 that I liked, where lost to a B2B, as you mentioned, Noah. But I think in this spot, this one looks to be lone speed or will be pretty forward on the lead, and I'm hoping that even though this one's going 6.5 and they tend to not rein in that speed, maybe this one could just hang on, because I don't see a lot of other really early pace in here. And we looked at the time form pace projections a little earlier, and it had the 5 on the lead early, which looked like by a pretty comfortable margin. We can go look at it again here, but I just thought this one was going to be up on the pace and hopefully just hang on there towards the end. We see it has a 7 kind of close by, and then by the end, the 8's kind of closing on. But I'm hoping the time form kind of holds true to this, because I saw this horse's lone speed, and then I checked the time form, and that always makes me feel just a little bit better. But Jackson, you've mentioned the 6.5 furlongs here can be a little tricky, because they really just tend to fly and then keep flying, and then eventually they just kind of sputter. So I'm hoping this one doesn't sputter till he's crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast recently with Craig Milkowski, who does all the time form stuff, and he was talking about synthetic racing in general, and he said just synthetic sprints are run like dirt sprints, where they just pedal to metal early, and it's plays a lot like the dirt surface would, and whereas the routes are run a lot more like the turf, which would makes me think that you want closers on the sprints and front runners on the 2-turn races. Just something
I would agree. It is something that I thought about. I'm just hoping this one can, get out there and just kind of hold on and at least give me a little bit of a thrill to extend my lead in the contest, not Noah's. But
you can take your $8. It doesn't hurt me at all.
There we go. Well, if you get any of your long shots home, I'm going to need a lot more than some $8 winners to get there.
I only need one. We're good.
So I'm going with the number 5, Jackson going with the number 2, Howard with the number 9, Noah with the number 8, and that is for race number 6. Moving on to race number 7, we're going 1.25 miles, the classic distance here. Picks are up on the screen. I went with the number 2, Jackson with the number 4, Howard with the number 5, and Noah with the number 2. So I'm blocked once again here, but we're going to start with Howard with the number 5, Freedom Maker at 10-1, a horse I gave a pretty close look to at the red hot Jonathan Thomas barn.
Guys, this is the Midwest prep for the Pacific Classic next year. I'm assuming 1.25 miles here. Another really tough race. I looked at this race, for an unhealthy amount of time here. I like a few things about the 5. First of all, Chaminade is a decent jockey, and I don't know why I even have to say this, but Jonathan Thomas is, could we even say underrated? I think he's excellent. He's really a trainer. In these 1.25 mile races, actually, it's funny that Jackson brought up pace scenario. I can't recall the pace scenario in this race. Man, guys, I want horses a little more forward. I know everyone's like, oh, it's 1.25 miles. I want closers. Yeah, like you want to close in the Belmont. Guys, I want horses that are going to be forward or mid-pack. And Freedom Maker fits that bill. He's only had 3 lifetime starts. Classic Empire, Grand Rewards. Certainly the horse is bred to go long. Obviously was not very good at Churchill last time, but we all know that turf is a little bit goofy. Ran in some next out winners in almost every single race that he's run in. If he runs his race 2 back and gets a good trip into a slow pace, I just don't know a reason why he can't be in the mix. Can he get the distance? Is he talented enough? I don't know, but give me some 10-1 guys in 1.25 mile race and a maiden special weight here at Turfway Park.
Absolutely, I like it, and I'm 100% in your court and on your side with you want a horse that's going to be forward, and it's just this 1.25 miles. It's more about staying than it is closing. you just want to get up there and you just kind of want to stay and make sure you get home, because there's not a lot of horses that are going to be making up a ton of ground late in this race. Jackson, we're going to go to you next. Right to the inside of Freedom Maker is Hope Joe's right. You hope Jackson's right with this.
I hope Joe Sharp is right about this horse, because he's going to get this one in the winner's circle. I really like that horse, the race 3 back, when you guys keep mentioning that you want a horse that's more forward. And that was the only time it was really close on the grass, at least. And that was a hot pace. And that was easily his best race he's ever run. And you see how he was wide the whole way. That was up against a fast pace, and then kind of just ran evenly. So that kind of makes me think he'll really like this 1.25 miles. He wants to stretch out. He wants to go further. Kind of similar to my last case where, he took some time off, had a useful prep. He should be much more cranked up for this start. So again, if he can get forward in this spot, Corrales prides his track better than anyone, arguably. So 5-1 seems fair. I thought this was a wide open race. I thought you could make a case for several of them in here, as we keep saying.
You absolutely can. And even though this is a field of 12, Noah and I, we both landed on Oscar Go for forgot the trainer's name already as I clicked off. Connor Murphy. Noah, why don't you take us through this top pick of yours and mine?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking very similar to Howard, but just ended up with a different horse. And this is a horse that actually ran in that same race back at Churchill and ran just fine. Ran fine off of that really long layoff last time where he was off for, almost 16, 17 months there. So I'm thinking third off the long layoff, he's going to be prime for kind of his best effort yet. He's going to be forward like we were talking about. I don't think there's a ton of speed in here. I assume these 1.25 mile races, you want to be close, and hopefully Machado's got him close. I don't love the 7-2, but at this point in the contest, I'll have my lead. So you just want to kind of keep tacking on at that point. So, might as well go with a 7-2.
Wow. Yeah, why not? And my points to this one, leading to my top pick, was this one is going to be forward, which is where you want to be, going the 1.25 miles. Oscar Performance is 19% with his synthetic routers, which is a strong number. The Dam and some siblings had some success on the synthetic. So I'm hoping this one just kind of keeps it in the family, translates that form right on over. And I'm hoping this one's going to be right in the winner's circle, stretching out off the 9 furlong effort in his last 2, back out to the 1.25 miles, where this one was entered in June of 2023 on turf. That one came off. Didn't really run a step on the dirt, but I think that's because this one was meant to romp under the Axeman with Luan Machado. So those are picks for race number 7. Noah and myself are on the number 2. Jackson's on the number 4, and Howard is on the number 5. We're going on to race number 8. And as we do, I do just want to talk about the fact that Turfway Park, this opening 9 race program, 7 of those races had full fields of 12, and then a field of 10 and a field of 9. So in the body of the field, not including the AEs, that is 103 runners. Of those 103 runners, Howard's top pick was an alternate, or was an also eligible. So he went with the number 14 in race number 8. None of the 12 in the body of the field were to his liking. I went to the number 5. Jackson went to the number 8. Noah went to the number 2. And Howard, even though I was giving you a hard time, a field of 12, you're probably going to get at least one of these AEs to draw in, because there's typically about, one scratch or so. And we are going to start with you to the far outside, Sweet Gal of Mine.
Ryan, you have over 100 subscribers already? Great job, man.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just noticed. Now I'm going to throw some poo-poo at you West Coast guys. No
There we
Michael
go.
McCarthy love? No Michael McCarthy love? Come on now. I know, because it's an AE, right? I do not mind far outside posts on Tapeta. I don't mind far outside posts sprinting in general anyway. I think it's one of those angles that people are really afraid of, and I know why, because everyone's like, well, the horse is going to be wide. This horse can show plenty of speed if she wants to. I realized last time she didn't. That was 5.5 at Keeneland, a real tough spot. I think she can be forward. Again, it's Corrales we talked about, working very well. You see there's the pace projector. They don't have the AEs on there, though, so that's why they don't have the 14 on there. But I think this horse will be forward. I like the connections here big time. This horse is very well meant. I like the spacing of like a little over, about 6 weeks here. And I think it's very logical. It has experience on the Tapeta. I know it didn't run great in the Serena's Song. That was a stake, but broke her maiden with a 79 buyer here in February. I just think she makes a lot of sense. And like I said, if she doesn't draw, and I like the 8, but I won't monopolize your time. Jackson will talk about the 8.
That's okay. Jackson's going to talk about the 8. Otherwise, and you can obviously add your points to that one as well. But that is the number 14, who definitely is going to merit some really strong respect from the bettor's perspective if this one were to draw in. No, we're going to go with you next to the number 2, Forgotten Peace. This guy's borderline chalk eating today, but 3-1. Why don't you walk us through?
Yeah, I'm a little more chalky than I actually realized, but nonetheless, she's very consistent. I mean, she's 15 for 36. Most of her running has been down at Presque Isle, but she's got a win over 2 tries at Turfway. Her last 4 or 5 races are just really consistent. She's been very tough to beat over at the Presque Isle circuit. Last time she was about 8-5 and in a short field, but it didn't necessarily set up for her. She was trying to kind of close her stock in a bit of a slower pace. And I just think the fact that she did lose last time, maybe you'll get a little better price here just because that 77, 78, I think is going to be pretty tough to beat. And she's going to sit right off of the 1 who's just going to kind of send from the inside. So I am a little more chalky than I wanted to be. But this is just kind of who I ended up landing on.
If Jackson, no one's going to hit 4 or 5 of these horses, and he's going to be in 3rd based on our picks. He'll have more winners than any of us.
He literally said, "I'm going to have more winners than all of you guys," and he's going to be right about that. But he's still
absolutely fine.
He'll finish 4th of 4. Yeah, without a doubt.
We got to teach him about these horse tourneys contests, man.
He's pretty, inexperienced. I'll talk.
Well, you would know. Normally, I'm not like this. It just happened to be like that.
I know. By the way, these 8-year-olds, when it's cold, they're gonna be shivering. She better have her winter coat on because these older horses, they don't want it cold. They want to be like in Florida. So I don't know. I'm totally making that crap up. I have no idea if they want it cold or not, but
Well, this is a hard trying horse.
I said bring him to California because we could use the horses.
Yeah, that's true.
And we got the weather. That's the number 2, Forgotten Peace. Jackson, you went with the number 8, a pick that you and Howard both landed on at 12-1. Of course, this is your top choice and Howard's alternate, but go ahead and take us through this one.
Yeah.
And Howard, feel free to comment too if you have anything.
We got 6.5 furlongs. It seems it's a distance that plays towards the closers. There's a lot of speed in here. There's a lot of horses that want to be forward. And honestly, I really didn't trust any of the closers. I thought this one was probably the best of them, but it's kind of a risky one, I would say, because her form isn't great, although she has started to turn around, it seems like, these last 2 races. The one at Keeneland was pretty good. I mean, there's no 2 Sharps in here. 2 Sharps, I think, is going to be the second choice in the La Brea. She's pretty good. And then last time she didn't get a great setup and still closed pretty well to split the field against a decent group. And then since then she's worked twice on the synthetic over at Keeneland. Vicky Oliver, I'm a big fan of. I think she pops at prices more often than not. And again, Corrales, who I mentioned, is a jockey who wins a lot of these races over here at Turfway. He rides his horse really well. So 12-1 seems like more than a fair price for a horse that should get a pretty good setup.
I feel so much better, Jackson. This is an A for me in my pick 5. I play it. The fact that you've got it, honestly, young man, makes me feel very good about that. I agree everything you said. This is just a weird spot, and it's sort of it feels like a confident move to me. And again, right. The local works are good, so I like the breeding for the Poly. Cost $350. I don't know. She's a real fuzzy in here. I think this race could fall apart. I know I've got the 14 who's more speed, so now I'm being contradictory. But if the 14's not in, I do want someone coming behind in this race.
Yeah,
I love the
absolutely.
Love it.
Yep. Absolutely. I ended up on the number 5 just for fun. Trained by a West Coast guy, Peter Urton. Out of Justified, this filly cost $485,000. This one is pretty lightly raced. They clearly have some expectations. Tried this one on turf first time out with John Sheriffs, who's not really known for his first time out runners. This one didn't really run a step, but jockey maybe had something to do with that, but that's for another day. Ran next time out and broke the maiden at Indiana Grand or Indiana Downs, Horseshoe Indy, whatever it's called nowadays, going 6 furlongs. Now this one gets a try on the Tapeta. This one clearly has some ability and has some talent. Might just be racing into the best kind of form of this one's career. Going to need a pretty substantial step up, but clearly there were some expectations, and Peter Urton's a pretty smart trainer. He won the nightcap at Del Mar this weekend, made me some money to get myself the hell out of there till next summer. So I'm going to go ahead and ride the Peter Urton wave. This one's 10-1. What do you mean, Chuck? Unless you're talking about the last at Del Mar.
I'm talking about the last one, yeah.
Well,
also, I don't know if you remember, but this is the horse I don't know why you were looking at Indy, but you're like, there's no way this horse loses today. And then I was like, no, you should bet the 8 instead. And then he listened to me for some reason. And this worked.
Yeah, and that was the start of Jackson's Antarctic run. So yeah, that was the last time I'll ever listen to Jackson.
I'm going to Turfway because it's gonna be 20 degrees at night. It's perfect for me.
That's right. It's perfect for you.
Hey, Mike Smith was the same guy that took Sumter and dueled with like a 75-1 shot at Del Mar.
That's correct. That is correct. But I think that set us up pretty nicely. I forgot who won that race, but I wasn't too upset at that one.
Mi hermano Ramon.
Yes, mi hermano Ramon for the red hot Mark Glatt, who I don't even think showed up to collect his trainer title on Sunday. I think he just kind of took the day off.
How did that horse win that race, by the way?
Because Mark Glatt can make no wrong moves, and Hector Barrios is a G. That's all I got.
Pratt took redistricting and 25 lengths back and 5
yeah. Pratt rode redistricting like he was Zenyatta, so that was already set up for failure.
Yeah, I finished 2, 3, 4, 5 in that race in the pick 5. That race made me real happy. Anyway,
yeah, that is brutal. But I picked the number 5 as my top pick. Jackson, the number 8. Howard with the number 14 for Mike McCarthy if he draws in. If not, going with the number 8 as well. And Noah with the number 2. And that is race number 8. We move on to the finale, the get-out race. We're going 5 furlongs, 15,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime. I'll throw the picks up on the screen. I'm going with the number 9. Jackson with the number 3. Howard and Noah are locked up, both with the number 6.
I'll be in front of him anyway. It'll be fine.
That's right. If it comes down to this, Jackson, I know.
Hey, real quick, what's the price on the 6 horse? Is it a favorite again?
9-5. Couple of chalky weasels joining us tonight.
Wait, who's the other one? It sure as hell's in me. That was like
sorry, yeah, it's not
only
you,
the second chalk I've taken the entire card. Take it easy.
Sorry, I grouped you in with Noah. Noah was eating enough chalk for 2 people, so I threw him in there. This guy doesn't know how to play tournaments. Oh, I'm just kidding. Number 3, Donate Life. I don't either, Noah. I don't play tournaments. I hammer pick 5s. So Jackson, why don't you lead us off with the number 3 here?
Yeah, these 5 furlong turf races, not turf, 5 furlong sprints at Turfway. I don't really know what to do with them. I feel like when I've watched them before, they're not quite as speedy as you would think. It feels like the horses that are kind of right behind it typically do well. I'm talking, anecdotally here. I haven't looked at the stats or anything, but I just wanted a horse that was going to be just right behind the speed, and this horse fits the bill. Has some figures that fit, and the one synthetic race was actually pretty good when that came against maiden special weights, set a hot pace, and did well to finish second. So I think she's one that should appreciate getting back to the synthetic surface. Should get a good trip in here, and hopefully she trips out and just has enough left late in the lane.
Yeah, I like it. That's the number 3. We'll look at the time, form, pace projections real quick. As Noah, why don't you lead us off with talking about the number 6 here?
Yeah, I thought this was one of the more straightforward races, which is why I went with the short price. So don't give me shit for that. This is a horse that Larry Ravelli just claimed at Churchill and ran over the slop and ran perfectly fine. Antique Silver is a pretty decent horse that's based in New York, and I think maybe even a grade stakes winner. I'm thinking of the right horse. But Larry Ravelli is actually 28% at Turfway, which you don't really think he has a ton of stock in Florence, Kentucky, but he does really well. And surprisingly, the 28% is worse than what he is anywhere for the year, which is 30. But just a logical spot in a race where I think Corrales is going to have her positioned well. I just kind of thought it was the 6 of the 8, and the 8's trained by Tom Amos, who looks to just be freeing up a space in his barn, a horse that's dropping from whatever to nothing. So I just ended up with the 6.
8's too big of a prize for you to pick, so you had to go with the
6. Jackson knows where I'm getting at.
Howard, you want to add any notes here on the number 6 trotter?
Real quick, well, Antique Silver, by the way, Noah is not a stakes winner, but she did run in the Daisy Cutter at Del Mar this year, by the way.
Is it Sterling Silver? I think that's
that's a nice Sterling Silver is a nice New York bred older filly mare. Anyway, I was hoping everyone's going to go, oh, it's the last race. I got pick a big price to win this contest, and I was going to sneak in under the radar with my $6 and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But of course, Noah's thinking the same thing. No, I mean, honestly, Trotter is the Matt Miller special. Trotter, if you don't know, the main character, name and let it rise. So obviously, Matt Miller will probably put his usual $5,000 to win on this horse. Larry Ravelli's really good, guys. You want speed in this race, obviously. I don't necessarily trust her but I think she can sit off a little bit if necessary. I just want to say this one thing, and I'll move on. I almost went with the 5, and Noah will laugh, especially because this horse has lost by 18, 28, and 22 in her last 3 starts. However, the 5 is off a long layoff, has been working well, and is very quick early. And I would not be shocked if the 5 like guns out there really hard and is at least a factor to like mid stretch. If you look at the 5's turf races, by the way, they were good. So maybe this horse just doesn't want dirt. Now I know the Tapeta race wasn't very good, but that was going a mile. I got a weird feeling Harmonica may play a happy tune and beat my 6 here, but I'm going to go Trotter anyway.
Yeah, note on Harmonica, because I give that one a look as well. The Mendelssohn's obviously handled the synthetic pretty well. And yeah, coming off the bench, that sharp 3 furlong work coming in is definitely something that piqued my interest a little bit. I ended up on the number 9, Ain't No Other, for the Catman, Vincent Chamonix in the saddle. This one coming off a maiden 20 win with only a 48 buyer, but I think this one's just coming in the right way. This one has some early foot, and I think this one from the outside post at the number 9 can just kind of sit the right trip. Catalano, obviously not known for winning with his first time out starters, better second time out with the likes of Built and some others. But I like Catman. The more he races, the better they get. And this one seems to be placed pretty logically. You're winning a maiden 20, and then you're placed in maiden, claim 15,000. That's a pretty logical spot for this one. Coming in should sit a pretty decent trim. Vincent knows how to ride this circuit really well, and he can be aggressive or he can be tactical. And this one should just kind of sit right off the pace and hopefully have enough to kind of take over in the top of the stretch. So that's race number 9, closeout leg of our win place contest. That's me with the number 9, Jackson the number 3, Howard and Noah locked up with the number 6. And that is every race over at, Turfway Park today. Not today, for Wednesday that we just covered. Again, our contest is every top pick is into a $2 mythical win place contest. The winner of the 4 of us is going to get $50. But for the YouTube comment section, anybody that hops in there, hit us with every top pick from Turfway Park's opening card tomorrow, and you will get the opportunity to win a $25 free wager if you have the highest win total of all of those at the end of the day. Let me throw the rules back up there just to clarify it. And then I got one more thing before we get on out of here. One more time with the contest rules. Yeah, again, comment your top selections from each race at Turfway and put your X handle in there as well. I don't think I mentioned that the first time out. That's how I'm going to reach out and get a hold of you. Winner announced on X tomorrow night after the card concludes. Last thing before I get parting shots from all of you guys, I want to just show one more parting shot from our good friend, Irad Ortiz, because everybody on earth should be Irad today with the bullshit Paco tried to pull or did pull at Parks today. But that is all I have on the sense of that. But
anyways,
just want to throw that video up there. I don't know that my opinions may not reflect that of my boss on the HHH Racing podcast. Well, that's okay. But this has been the Get Bucked episode 15. Parting shots from anybody here as we went over the opening.
Don't play the pick 5s at Turfway. Play the pick 4s. They're easier. The takeout is lower, and there's no consolation. Play the pick 4. 14% takeout.
Go ahead, Howard.
Play the old pick 1. Play the look.
Well,
I'm gonna play pick 5s once in a while. I'm gonna be very selective because that's what I do. But if any track, look, I lost my ass last year at Turfway. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to people. Because I played too many longer horizontals. I'm going to pick my spots. I'm going to play some doubles where I like it, and a very occasional pick 5 when I like some horses that are interesting or there's a big carryover, which there's bound to be like every week. So just pick your spots, have a lot of fun, and I like synthetic, to be honest. I know that might be a shock to some people. I don't mind. I should say I don't mind synthetic. And look, don't bitch about it. If you lose money, don't play it then. Don't say, oh, Turfway's so hard, but I'm going to bet $200 on it every night. Then don't play Turfway, people. If you don't, you can't have it both ways. You can't, oh, I love betting tracks, but then I hate Turfway because it's synthetic, but here, I'm going to play it anyway. You get what you pay for, guys.
It's the fair surface.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's
And,
it. Thanks for
also
having me,
have,
Ryan. I really do appreciate it. And great to spend time with you guys on the other side of it as a co-host. So it was a lot of fun, guys.
Absolutely. That was a ton of fun. And of course, check out Betting and Boozing, Picks and Ponies on the HHH Racing channel. And don't forget tomorrow night, myself and that guy, Noah Maher. We're going to be live on the HHH Racing channel for Pacific Horse Players. We're going to be doing the $1 late pick 4 from none other than Los Alamitos Racecourse. We are so back. We got the grade 2 Starlet or whatever. We're going to have ponies running in circle and running down a long stretch. I can't wait to talk about what's sure to be the Bob Baffert Invitational, and that's going to be fun. I think the card for Friday just got drawn. I will not be betting Friday. I'll be betting Turfway. All the nice little spot plays here and there because that's where I've hit some of my longest price horses off of just honestly pure guesses. The maiden races, sometimes I'll just, I see a couple 70 to 1s. I'll just sprinkle a little something on there, and that's happened. It's coming my way more than a couple times. So
great advice.
Oaklawn opens Friday.
Yes, they do. Oaklawn also opens on Friday. We got a ton of racing coming up. Obviously Turfway always on the synth, Oaklawn all on the dirt, but both of them fantastic racing products, full fields, and tons of stuff to bet on. And then Jackson, you and I, we're back tomorrow as well with Kaylee Shapiro and Matthew DeSantis. We're doing a Naira card, Cigar Mile, Remsen Day, Demoiselle Day. We're going over that whole sequence tomorrow, so that's going to be great. And then shout out to Howard. I got Uncle Jim running on Friday in that allowance race. Let's hope race number three.
Got to run down Cyclone State from the rail, but he'll break better. He'll be just fine, guys.
Is that Oaklawn or Aqueduct?
Aqueduct race 3.
Okay.
He is actually the 3 horse, I believe. I don't think the morning line odds are out yet, but Cyclone State's a nice horse in the rail. It's low in speed that might be tough to run down, but I just want to see Uncle Jim finish well and increase his buyer. That's all. That's all I care about, to be honest. Ryan, you might want to explain why we're even mentioning the horse, but that's up to you. It's your show. I won't say anything.
Yeah. No, obviously I'm mentioning it because that is Howard's pick and bet for his 2025 Kentucky Derby winner. Obviously, you had Sierra Leone last year. Put it all together in the Breeders' Cup in a hilarious way that you pulled that $2 win bet out of the hat. There was no better way for that to go. But yes, that is your pick for this year. I was just going to ask, you said you just wanted to see him improve the buyer and finish well. Is it a vote of maybe not vote of confidence, but how does it make you feel seeing that horse in an allowance race instead of immediately into stakes competition, still being a 2-year-old in the early winter?
Yeah, the Remsen's the next day, and the Remsen field did not come up very strong. So I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't mind seeing him in the Remsen, but my guess is Brad wants to, build him up to 1 mile and 1/8. It's not easy to go from 7 to 1 mile and 1/8. I know Sierra Leone did it last year, but he went from 1 mile to 1 mile and 1/8. That's a big ask. Second time out, guys, to go against more experienced horses. So I think I'm not discouraged. I'm slightly surprised, but I'm not discouraged. Like I said, there's plenty of time to get points for the Derby, plenty of time. So I'm not worried about that. I will mention, just because I'm a sicko with the Brad Cox barn right now, Admiral Dennis is down at Fairgrounds and is working at the Fairgrounds, which leads me to believe that Admiral Dennis will probably go in the Gun Runner, which is the end of December. It's like the very first prep race for the Derby in the Fairgrounds. And my guess, and this is just a guess, that Uncle Jim will probably go to Oaklawn. They'll probably keep them separated. But again, it's a complete guess. He's got to improve and be better to be considered to be, running in these big stakes eventually. But no, I don't mind. Tapich race won an allowance race in January at Gulfstream. So look, Brad knows what he's doing. I'm not too discouraged. I'll be discouraged if he doesn't run well Friday, though. I will say that.
Definitely, yeah. It's I think it's a nice move to kind of bring him along slowly. We're still in the winter months. There's plenty of time to get him, prepped and everything like that. And you mentioned the Brad Cox barn. They have at least the Kentucky Oaks second place finisher running in the Demoiselle, I believe, and that's Mahima, whatever that horse's name is. Owned by Godolphin. That horse.
You don't want to pronounce it if you're going to call her out like that.
Well, the winner of the Oaks is Cipriani for Baffert. That horse is that.
What
horse
about good? Have you seen Good Cheer run?
I have. I've seen all of them run. I'm just saying what I see. So I'm doing the old the old Barnes, but for the Phillies. So that's who I'm going with. I'm not gonna put money on that one because I'm sure if the Oaks had a future pool, Cipriano would be somewhere in the like 3-1 range.
By the way, guys, Patch Adams, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 120 and change. I know that track was
He's
a
a
bit
buyer?
fast. I think it was 94 or something. What was it?
98.
98. I lost
pretty
my
good.
bet on McKinley.
Patch Adams
Very
is
good.
almost as good as rated by
I did
merit.
too.
Don't get me started. Rated by merit's a Florida bred. He's a very nice Florida bred, but not a Derby horse that everyone thinks he's going to be. But
No, I
Patch
don't
Adams
think he's a Derby
was
horse.
wow. That was super
That
impressive,
was-
guys.
I hope they
Yeah.
run him in the Holy Bowl, rated by merit, and he's like 4 to 5. I really hope they do.
I just hope he
because-
runs in against any good quality competition, Jackson, with at least one speed horse, and yeah, he'll be 4 to 5, and he'll finish, a good fading 4th by 7. So yeah, I like.
We'll
that.
find out real quick. He's not that Derby horse, but
How about,
Jackson,
how
I'm
about
with you.
how about a little Bullard versus Patch Adams in the Pat Day Mile in May? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd take Patch Adams, I think.
I know they both want to be in the Derby. I'm just
Yeah,
being
they
cheeky.
do.
I don't know if they're
But-
gonna be Derby horses or not, but we'll see. Be fun.
I like it. Speaking of which, Oaklawn's opening card, they have Innovator, the horse that just lost by a nose to Barnes, running
Mhm.
back on, what is that, about a week and a couple days. So interesting to see, but that's the D. Wayne Lucas move. If they're ready, they're ready. And I like it. I'm sure he'll do well. And all right, that's pretty much the show. We're at this point. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Jackson, you and I will be back tomorrow, and then same Noah, you and myself, and Picks and Ponies later this week on the HHH Racing Channel. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This has been Get Bucked, episode 15.